We'll get ready for the season opener and then we'll open up for questions.
Okay, I think the players are really excited about game week. We don't practice on Mondays. Mondays are our day off, but we practiced last night. And I can see a little bounce in their step. And I'm sure every college player in the country is ready for week one. So we'll find out in a hurry. Very good team, outstanding athletes, two really good quarterbacks. Taysom Hill, I thought, was one of the best in the country, several years ago. And so he's obviously back for them. And we've got a lot of questions that everybody wants to see answered on all three phases, particularly on defense with some of the new stuff. But we'll find out Saturday night.
Rich, how long have you been contemplating moving your practice in the morning, and how have the guys adapted to that?
Well, we've actually been contemplating moving it earlier ever since I've gotten here, when you're practicing 105 degrees in the afternoon. But we could never work it out time-wise, particularly with our class schedules. And this year we tried to find a 2-hour window in the morning, which we have from 7 to 9, and another little window in the afternoon for meetings, late afternoon, and it worked out. And we also did that with camp, which we used to practice in the evening. I got tired of waiting around. I think the players too, waiting around at 6 o'clock to practice. So we've gone in the mornings. I think they like that. And so far, just judging on the players' reaction, I think they like the early morning practices too for during the season. And we'll do that on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and most Thursdays. Fridays just a walkthrough. We'll do in the afternoon. But I like the structure of it so far.
Coach Daly, quarterback question. Any guy separated himself? You ready to name a starter yet?
Anu and Brandon have separated from the other guys, but they've both got better. I consider, certainly Anu's a starter, and he's been a starter for a couple of years. But Brandon has progressed to the point where we consider him as a starter as well. Now, only one can take the snap going out, and stay tuned for Saturday night to find out who that is. But right now, and we haven't even talked about it as a staff, but I would hesitate to play both of them. Both of them probably will play.
What have you seen from the competition between the two that you may not have known, or maybe from Anu specifically?
I didn't really look at it, again, probably natural for everybody else, but I didn't look at it from a competition standpoint, like who's going to win a job. I'm just looking at getting better. And I didn't, I hope the players looked at it the same way. It's like, it's probably natural that, I'm playing better than him, or he's playing better than me. Maybe they think that way, but I don't think it that way. I'm just thinking about trying to get this guy to play as good as he can play, and not worry about the competitive part of it. So obviously, for every position, not just quarterback, on Saturday you can only have one starter at each position. But until it gets to that point, I don't worry about it. I just worry about getting better.
What did Sean Brown do to impress you in camp?
The same things he did in the spring, and as he progressed last year. He's a competitive kid. He loves football, works his tail off, is intelligent. He's a coach's son, so he has a great understanding of the game. But he'll help us in the return game. He'll help us at wideout. I think he can play. I'm not sure. I guess I should know this, but we have 4 different receiver positions, and I know he can play at least 3 of them.
How does he compare to Tyrell Johnson?
They're similar, very similar. Tyrell's a little faster. Of course, Tyrell's a little faster than everybody. Shun's probably a little more consistent with his route running and his ball catching. But they're both really good players, not really big. But with the 3 seniors that we have, and Nate and Samaje and Trey, those are 3 veteran guys that can play every position, and we know we can win with them. The other guys know that we like to play 6 or 7 or 8 of them. And Shun and Tyrell, Sean Poindexter, help me out here. Who else is out there?
Cam.
Cedric Peterson, Devon Cooper is a true freshman that'll be in the rotation. So we got a nice group there.
Have you gotten any update on Zach Benjamin?
No, you're right. So right now he's not eligible because of the transfer rule, and I think they're looking into it, but we're not too optimistic right now, which is kind of silly. The guy walks on, pays his own way, he ought to be able to be eligible. I mean, we're talking about student athlete welfare. Guy pays his own way, especially he's out of state. That's silly that he's not eligible.
Where is Cam right now, Richard?
Oh, Cam too, I should have mentioned Cam. Thanks for bringing him up. He's had a good camp, and he's at the position he needs to be at. And he's played mostly in the slot, but he's also played outside some, and he's had some really good days at camp. So Cam Denson is considered a starter, along with Nate and Samaji and Trey and Shun and probably Tyrell. So Cam is right. Cam will play. He'll be in the mix and get a lot of reps.
What do you like most about him? Is it the size he brings? Is it the speed angle? Is there one or the other?
He's a really good athlete. I mean, he's average size. He's got good speed, but he's got great ball skills, and he's quietly competitive. And Cam, I think, has settled into his position and can certainly help us.
What aspects of the BYU defense give you some concern?
They're a big physical team, play extremely hard. And we're actually not bad size-wise offensively, but they're a big team up front. They're very active, and they're going to challenge us. We expect them to bring a lot of pressure, do different things coverage-wise, and even their DBs are big guys. So we're going to have to play physical to win this one.
Outside of the first year you were here, do you think there have been more questions about the team going into a season like now?
You all can answer that better than I could. I think it's probably, I mean, I know I've got some anxiety about certain things, but I do that I think before the first game, and I know I've said this every year, the last 30 years, you have more unknowns going into your first game than any time else during the season. And this year's certainly no exception in that. But I like where we're at attitude-wise. I love the enthusiasm that we've seen in practice on a consistent basis, really, for the last 3 weeks. Has been as good as anywhere, ever since I've been here, and really anywhere I've been. And I think that's gotta help us. It's a big part of it. Our guys are really learning. We coach them pretty hard, and we're pretty demanding. But just judged on like the last couple practices, their attentiveness and their learning curve has gotten really good. And I think they're a lot further along than they were 3 weeks ago. And we still got some work to do, but I like where they're at.
So you've been pretty consistent about saying you're not going to announce the quarterback until the very last minute.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I mean, I could announce it today if I wanted, but.
So does that mean you know who it is?
Yeah. It's either Brandon or Jonu. No, I'm not playing no game. That's not being coy. I'm not worried about it. I mean, everybody else seems to be worried about it. I'll let Brandon and Anu know, but I don't approach every practice like, okay, who's gonna win the job today? Nope. Here's the plays we're gonna run, and here's what you're supposed to execute. And Brandon and Anu do the same things. We don't call a set of plays with one guy and a set of plays for another guy. They have to run the whole offense. That would be different. If there were completely different plays called for different quarterbacks, then you'd have to maybe settle down a little bit. But for us, we run what we run, and both those guys are expected to and are capable of running everything.
Would they know without you telling them?
Sure, they'll know. I mean, the guys will know, but why? This creates some mystery. It's like everybody wanted to know what our next video was going to be, right? They were doing, what's the next video? And we were working on it. We just didn't want to tell everybody. And it came out, and we got another one coming out pretty soon. This, the Glad Area video was fun. Didn't take much time. But the next video we come out to the Dream On song, it shows the history of Arizona football. Off the charts, in my opinion. Off the charts. So you want to watch? I don't know if it's going out today. You'd think our illustrious media folks, Blair and them, would let us know, but no, Blair's keeping the secret, so I don't even know. But whenever it comes out, every Arizona fan that followed Arizona football, I think will like the next one coming out.
Was it good for Anu Solomon to have that competition? Did it kind of light a fire under him?
I think so. I think it's good for everybody. I think eventually my goal and our goal and every coach's goal was to have true competition, not just stated competition, but true competition at every position. If you have 2 or 3 guys you can win with at every position, you're going to win a lot of games. We have not been there, and we're not there right now, but we are going to get there. I'm as convinced today as I've ever been that within the next year or two, particularly when our recruiting classes are gonna come in, that we'll have a true competition at probably every position. And that's gonna allow our program to stay and be consistently good.
Rich Jarvis's move to free safety, he had obviously played with that a little bit in 2014. Was that more of a natural fit for him, you thought?
I think so. I think it's been a good move for him. He's a physical guy. You know, our safeties and the structure of things have to cover a lot of ground, so big corners can play safety. But we got to try to make a conscious effort to play more people. You know, playing 6 or 7 guys in the secondary, and I think we're going to be able to do that starting Saturday night.
Are you concerned at all about the lack of experience in the reserve ranks at the safety spots? It's pretty much all guys who've never played.
I'm concerned about lack of experience in several positions, and about every backup is lack of experience. But that's probably every team in the country. Most of their backups, unless you know, maybe they're a team that's been, you know, even Ohio State got lots of new guys, or Alabama. Your backups are probably going to be less experienced than your starters. That's just the way it works.
Rich, speaking of which, do you or any of the other coaching staff look at this offensive depth chart and find it amusing that, at least on paper, 5'9" Samaji is backed up by 6'5" Poindexter?
Does he really? That's neat. Sean can eat peanuts off his head, you know. It'd be, Sean was an interesting story. He's like, we offered him like the day before signing date. And, it wasn't a highly recruited guy. He was in JC, played volleyball, and we thought he could be a pretty good player, but I wasn't overly optimistic that he'd play right now. I thought maybe a year in the weight room, a year learning, but he's learned really quickly. He's had a really good camp, so got great size, but he's got toughness too. But Samaji and Nate Trey can play every position. And Samaji is one of the most explosive receivers, I think, in our conference. He's had a really good camp, so I'm really excited for Samaji Grant this year too.
Calvin was saying that they were waiting till the very, very last second to get the green light from you when they were looking over Sean and where he stood.
Oh, they weren't waiting that long. I don't think we recruited. Well, I think we got him committed on a Tuesday and started recruiting him on Monday night about 10. So it wasn't no, I don't know the whole story behind it, but I know that we looked at him and then I remember looking at him with Calvin saying, you know, this guy's 6'5", he's athletic, he's a great guy, you know, he's a local guy that won't get homesick. And what are we waiting on? And so we did. We offered him late, and I think he was committed to somebody else, but that didn't matter. But most of the time, but it's been good. I'm glad he's here because we need a little size. You know, Nate and Samaji are really good players, but you know they may be a little bit vertically challenged. So we got to talk out with Sean.
What do you like about Nathan Eldridge heading into a
Big, tough guy.
center assignment?
Very competitive. Still learning a little bit, but really has picked up, and we've done a lot of stuff at him. We have not kind of, particularly when we went good on good, we didn't make a generic look so the young guys up front on the O-line, which is the hardest position mentally other than the quarterback, you know, we threw everything at him. And the center is the guy that usually has to, up front, that has to recognize things quickly, and Nate has done that. And he's going to have, he's just a young guy, and he was redshirted before, but he's going to have a good career, and he's thrown into it right now. Excited to see him play.
How happy are you with all your centers of the snapping part of it, which
It's
obviously
been good. You know, last year Kamen moved over on his own and volunteered and did a great job, but there were moments that, where'd that snap come from? It looked like a punt snap, but he was, our snaps have been really good all camp.
Coach, a little off topic, I know there's a huge difference NFL and college football, but as a coach, did you have any opinion on the Colin Kaepernick sitting for the national anthem?
I didn't know much about it, really. That's how, I'm not being coy. When I put on the TV, I usually put on the Pac-12 network, which covers some reruns of games, and then if I've got a spare 15 minutes, I'll put it on CNN or Fox, depending on which political realm I want to watch for that evening. So I haven't paid much attention to it, so I really don't know. I'm not informed enough to make an opinion on it.
You were talking about depth the other day, and you didn't mention cornerback, whether it was like you liked it or concerned about it. But what can you tell us kind of about the backups the listed backups at that position or the depth at corner?
Yeah, you know, you guys know us well enough anyway. I even hesitate to put depth chart. Blair should be the first SID that puts position chart, because depth kind of like alludes that you're a backup and you're just a backup and you won't play. Where sometimes a backup is really just a co-starter, and some people put fancy stuff like we do, but like Nick Wilson or Orlando Bradford. Just Nick or Orlando or starters, you know. I don't know why we have to have a depth. But what was your question again?
About the corners.
I was trying to
Behind
avoid the
Behind
question by
Dane
giving you
Devontae.
some lame comment about something else. What about the corners?
Beyond Dane and Devontae, like, has Jace come along in a big way?
Yeah, I know. I guess I'm looking at this. I guess Dane and Devontae going to start. I hope they have good practices tomorrow and Wednesday, so that ensures that. Yeah, Devin Holiday's been there as a veteran. He's healthy, and he's really done a great job in the way we've gotten stronger. Jace played as a true freshman last year, very competitive. I think we have some other guys too that'll play at corner. Those are just the ones I guess the coaches wanted to put down there. So what was your question? Did I answer it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sammy Morrison, is he still in the mix?
Yeah, Sammy was hurt most of camp. He's just now back into practice. I think when Sammy gets healthy, this may be a couple weeks where he's back to full speed. He'll be in the mix as well. And there's some other guys too. Not looking at the whole roster. Yeah, Sammy's one that'll. He got hurt early in camp, so that set him back a little bit.
What do you like about your new kicking game, obviously at both positions?
Well, the kicker and the punter.
Yeah.
Ask me Saturday night about 11. If I like how they work, you know, but that's a deal like everything else. You got to see it under the lights. Josh Pollock has kicked better when we've gotten under the lights at the stadium than he has on the practice field. So maybe he's a stadium guy. I haven't asked him, you know, how he's going to kick in Phoenix Stadium there, but he's got a strong leg. He's very capable and can do both. Right now, he probably is the starter at field goal and a starter at punt, but the new guy, Edgar, has got a very strong leg, probably the strongest leg, 6'2", 250. He ain't gonna cover a lot of kicks. You know, he's gonna hope somebody tackles it before he gets to him. And then Matt Aragon is a really good athlete. Our punting thing is that's still wide open, you know, as far as the punting thing. And you gotta wait and see how they do it in games. And they'll be fine. They'll be a little nervous early.
Who do you think is going to be that special teams tackler this year? Obviously, Hayden's gone, and Trey, you probably aren't going to use as much.
We're still going to use Trey, and then we got a lot more, I guess, in the special teams pool, so to speak, that Coach Regal is using from the defensive standpoint. But I don't know. I mean, who's going to be the? You're not supposed to punt, so I don't know who those guys are going to be, but. We try to. We're a little bit different. Even though we have some starters on special teams, I prefer to put the starters on special teams, guys that maybe aren't 60 or 70 play starter types, and guys that are trying to maybe prove themselves or still learning, whatever. Because I like to play a lot of people, and most of our special teams are usually guys that aren't playing 60 or 70 plays, or your younger guys that are getting experience and they're excited about being on those units. I know some coaches want to just put all their best guys, their best stars. Samaje Grant, Trey Griffey would be on every special team. But they're going to be playing a lot of plays. We'll put some other guys in there that are excited to do it. And Trey and Samaje would be excited too. But I've always done it that way because I like a lot of guys playing.
What do you see Fish's role being as the season plays out this year?
I consider him a co-starter on defense. He'll play a lot. Those guys, again, this has been something that's hurt us, which was just bad luck. We've had injuries. We have not been able to play a lot of guys in the front seven, the front six, in our regular rotation. We've got to force ourselves to do that because it's such a long season, and the games are so physical nowadays. Fish is a big physical guy. He's setting that thing, and he's had a really good camp and a really good spring.
With this new coaching staff, where are they going to be situated during the game, as far as the sideline and the
Coach Yates will be in a box, and I believe Coach Amy, defensively, Coach Amy and Coach Adai, I know are both on the field. I'm not sure about Coach Williams. But judging on what we did in our Beanie Bowl, our kind of dry run on the game the other day, Coach Yates was upstairs.
Do
Do you like starting the season in a place like University of Phoenix Stadium, kind of like a bowl-like atmosphere?
Yeah, I think it's neat. I think it's a neat concept. I'm hoping that we'll have sold more tickets than they have. I think right now we're catching up to them. They're a little bit ahead of us. But we've got a lot of fans that I think will be interested in going up there. They're from up there. A lot of fans from down here. It's an easy drive. So it should be a great atmosphere. I think everybody, I'm sure would love to play at home the first game, but for this, it's almost like home. It's an easy drive, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a really neat venue. We were up there a couple of years ago, and I was up there with the staff watching the Cardinals practice. It's a neat place to play.
JJ Taylor's on the chart here in multiple places. Do you have sort of a target goal for touches per game?
Mike, we really haven't talked about that yet. Sometimes you do that with certain guys. We got to give him the ball so many times. We haven't talked about that yet with him because he's so young. But as the week goes along, we know we've got to get him in the game a little bit. And he's a true freshman that has shown a lot. And I don't want to put too much on him because there's some veterans in front of him that are really good players. But JJ's an explosive player, and he will play.
Coach, Matt Dudek says he's waiting on your final approval of the video one more time.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to go.
It is coming.
Yeah. So pay attention to that, and our digital gurus, our guys, and we have probably, I think, the most talented digital guru guys in the country. They're really good. It's amazing what they can do, and it was fun doing some of the player videos that we do every year, and this one here I think is pretty neat. Even you'll see the voice of the Wildcats on that video as well. So pretty spectacular.
How much
Nice.
preparation and research did you do for your role as Maximus?
I've been working my tail off, just to, the hardest part is putting on those outfits. Those guys are 20 years old. They kind of fit right in there, you know what I'm saying? But put an old man in there a little bit more difficult. But it's, I know some people say, why, going around making videos. We did this, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and literally a couple hours on a Sunday. And all the hard work, all the other work was done by other folks. So it wasn't hard preparation. I've watched the movie. I watched the movie, which I think may be the greatest movie ever made, and probably the greatest single acting performance ever in the history of movie making by Russell Crowe. So I love the movie, my all-time. That one and The Outlaw Josie Wales are like neck and neck, all-time favorite movies. So I've watched it a whole bunch of times and knew everything about it. So it was kind of neat.
So you were a one-take wonder with your line?
Yeah, that was my time doing TV. I learned to do it in one take. The only difference is I didn't have makeup on. I was out in the desert sweating. But other than that, yeah, it was one take. It was good.
Since you've got a few players of the Mormon faith, do you get a sense that this game means more to them?
I don't know. I don't broach that subject with them. I think there's a lot of guys. We have a lot, some Polynesian players that they're very family oriented. They know a lot of guys on their team. I know Anu Solomon. Anu knows a lot of guys on their team. So there's some friendship, some friendly rivalry going on a little bit with that. But as far as their faith is concerned, I don't even know who's Mormon, who's not on our team.
Okay, guys, thank you. Thanks, Coach.